Hi, I'm Lori Azzarella. I am the founder of Reflex-OIL-ogy. I have been a practicing reflexologist since the early 1990s. And the reason I got into it was because at the age of 7, I developed a condition called alopecia, and it is a now known autoimmune disorder. And so it kind of put me on the quest to figure out what was going on in my body. And reflexology was, when I had it first applied to my feet, empowered me, it validated me, and it helped me so much that I was determined to learn it. And I learned it and I practiced it on my family and my friends. And lo and behold, God had me to, I went through a series of different crises to get me to this point where I am sharing and teaching now. And I have started an educational program called Reflex-OIL-ogy, which incorporates the American Standard Reflexology with premium life force essential oils. So I'd like to share with you the differences that I have noticed and observed between Ingham reflexology, which is the basis of American Standard Reflexology, VitaFlex, and also Reflex-OIL-ogy. So I hope you enjoy this short presentation and it enlighten you to empower yourself and so to achieve better health naturally through the soles of your feet. Welcome to the study, a short little study of reflexology, VitaFlex, and Reflex-OIL-ogy. What's the difference? What is this all about? Well, I'd like to go through line by line. And again, this is a very brief introduction, and I'm sure there's much more study to it, but just to give you a sampling of different things that do happen. Because reflexology, basically working on the feet and hands, has been around for eons, for centuries, for decades, for millenniums. And so there is a difference between how they became modern modalities because they're both based in ancient therapies. Reflexology, they claim their origins go back to the year 2330 BC. They found it in the tomb of a physician in Egypt. And VitaFlex is recognized with a more origins found in Tibet, so has more of an Eastern influence to it, utilizing more of the what do I want to say? More of the acupuncture type things that are going on within. Now, reflexology was introduced to the United States in 1913 by two doctors who came over from Europe. One was the Dr. William Fitzgerald, and the other one was Dr. Edwin Bowers. And they developed what they had called zone theory or zone therapy. And from that system, it applied different pressure to different areas of the body. And they found that it could have an anesthetic effect on other areas of the body when you apply them to the hands or to the feet. And as a physiotherapist, Eunice Ingham took Dr. Fitzgerald's zone therapy theory and treated with that. She treated hundreds of patients to determine that the reflexes on the feet were an exact image of the organs of the body. So with her research, she actually created the reflexology foot chart as the basis of modern American reflexology. And her work is documented in her book that she wrote in 1938 called Stories the Feet Can't Tell. Now, Stanley Burroughs is credited for reintroducing the Tibetan foot therapy as VitaFlex to America via his clinical work on the West Coast. And with the publication of his book, which was The Healing Age for Enlightenment, in 1976. And again, VitaFlex incorporates not only pressure points on the feet, but other applications on the body and different massage techniques. And his book, Stanley Burroughs' book, actually includes what we call the Master Cleanse, which is, you may notice, the popular lemonade cleanse. And also he introduces color therapy and body massage and nutrition. Both Reflexology and VitaFlex claim to reduce stress and tension, improve circulation, unblock nerve endings, detox and relax the body, and help bring the body into a healthier state of balance. And they both use a form of alternating pressure to create an electrical impulse that runs through the feet into the body. Now, Eunice Ingham was predominantly on the East Coast because she was born in New York. Well, she was born in South Dakota and spent most of her adult time in New York. And Stanley Burroughs was mostly on the West Coast. He also was in Hawaii as well as California and Oregon. So I find it interesting that reflexology is on the East Coast and VitaFlex more predominant on the West Coast. So you can see they both work. It's just really kind of the aspects of how they do it that I find differently. And through all my studies of reflexology, I have found it very fascinating, the different techniques and applications that have gone throughout history and throughout different areas of the world. Oops. So reflexology is predominantly using the thumb and the fingers, where with an alternating pressure, sort of a on off, like flicking this light switch, right? And VitaFlex predominantly uses the same method, but with fingers. So they will use the pads of the fingers, the tips of the fingers, and the nail, and this rolling effect to initiate also an alternating pressure. So here we have in VitaFlex, the spinal reflex is on the medial side of the feet, and it goes from the calcaneus or the heel bone all the way up to the head of the distal metatarsal. And as a lot of wrist action, you can see where the fingers and then the tips of the fingers and then the nails of the fingers create an electrical vibration. And it's, again, alternating current, so to speak, that we're implying runs up into the body. Now, some aspects of this can be working on different meridian points as well, as also some people claim nerve endings, some people claim chi or energies that are running through the body. So it's a application. A lot of times, and Gary Young implemented this in his raindrop therapy. And so it's using the VitaFlex with essential oils that he worked on the spinal reflex as well. Now, Eunice Ingham's work is a little different. It starts, the practitioner is sitting at the bottom of the feet. Okay, so the soles of the feet are facing you. Where VitaFlex, you would stand more at the side, which I didn't in that because of the camera. But the spinal reflex in American Standard Reflexology is generally from the tip of the heel to the base of the toe. And so it works along there, and you can see this pressure is used with mostly the thumb. And so again, it is still the alternating pressure, and it is manipulating again, trying to create a electrical impulse that runs through the soles of the feet into the rest of the body. Now, the similarities to me are greater than the differences because they both use alternating pressure in one way or the other. And by doing this stimulation, it helps the body to reduce stress and tension, helps to balance it, and it helps to create a homeostasis in the energy field of the body, which affects all the organs and glands. Now, introducing Reflex-OIL-ogy is actually a form of clinical reflexology. Standard reflexology can be relaxing and beneficial as VitaFlex, but clinical reflexology brings a higher level of expertise, combining knowledge of the anatomy, the physiology, and specific health conditions. Now, there are many forms of clinical reflexology. Reflex-OIL-ogy is a form of clinical reflexology. And Reflex-OIL-ogy is going to focus more on very, very precise reflex areas. Okay, and it also teaches the reflexologist or the reflexologist how to discern if the inner organ, gland, or body part is functioning to the fullest potential as it was created to function. So this would include not just large areas, organs such as the liver or the stomach or even the spine, but it goes into very specific nerve roots. It includes flexures and sphincters and valves and all sorts of individual structures within each organ. It can also detect individual hormones and enzyme production, nerve innervations, and so much more. Clinical reflexologists will strive to determine the underlying cause of their clients' issues. Okay, and they are equipped with a working knowledge of how the body was created to function in the perfection through which God created it to function. Every organ, every gland, and every hormone, every nerve has a function and a purpose, just like we as individuals have our own unique purposes created by God to create and to develop and to function that way. So reflexologists will examine the reflex areas to assess each working part of this whole. Oops, one more. There you go, to improve function. And so oftentimes even meridians, energy centers, nerves, muscles, body alignment, diet, personal habits, lifestyle choices are all taken into consideration when necessary to facilitate the client's natural God-intended balance for functioning. So our classes are unique in that we focus on one body system at a time and go into greater depth and greater detail with that. It will utilize the alternating pressure of the thumbs and fingers, and sometimes we incorporate the VitaFlex into this and other forms of reflexology and other manipulations of the foot. It also, Reflex-OIL-ogy has significant I would say success because it pairs the premium life force essential oils with the physiology, and it enhances an intentional flow of oxygenated energy through the musculature of the feet into the inner body, which seems sort of like, whoa, how does that happen? But the thousands of years that reflexology has been around has shown that it does work. And of course, essential oils work extremely well because they've been around since the third day of creation. Okay. So essential oils are chosen, and this is taught during our classes. They are chosen based on their primary constituents, their balancing properties, their appropriate body support system support, and a very minute is used. So it's not like you're anointing the foot. It's very, very slight, probably even sometimes less than a drop of essential oil is used because their potency is magnified when used in conjunction with Reflex-OIL-ogy. So choosing oils that maintain their integrity, their life-sustaining properties, and their reproductive creative energy is extremely, extremely important. The Young Living brand is our premium life force essential oil choice for Reflex-OIL-ogy. And I kind of want you to begin to think about life force. When we talk about premium life force essential oils, it is like take a seeded watermelon and a non-seeded watermelon. Which has more life force, which is able to reproduce itself. So a lot of our plants have been hybrided. They're not sustained organically. They're not sustained in farming situations. They may be mass produced or adulterated in the genetic makeup to produce more essential oil, which isn't necessarily the way God created it. So we really adhere to that aspect of using a premium life force essential oil, and we have found that Young Living brand is what sustains our results in reflexology the best. All right, now we're going to do the right foot. So same thing. Is this still a 1 here? Now, this is an example of a session with using Reflex-OIL-ogy. You'll see that there are a multitude of different charts and protocols that the Reflex-OIL-ogist works off of. Very precise locations, and you'll see the client is taking their own notes. So this is very important because what it does is it helps to validate and give the responsibility, empowers the receiver to be able to communicate with their own bodies. And this is what we all truly desires, to be able to commune with our inner organs, our inner glands, to be able to find what precisely is causing my malaise. What is the original root? What is the cause of this? And it's very interesting because a lot of times these things go back to childhood issues. And so when we chart, and we're taught this, we chart how to use Reflex-OIL-ogy in a more clinical sense to find what is going on in the body. Now, it is also Reflexology is very much supported by research. So there are over 2,000 studies of reflexology in the National Institute of Medicine that explore the role of clinical reflexology in the treatment of various conditions. Sometimes it is simply pain management. Sometimes, especially with cancer, nausea, as this one is. Sometimes it's through MS and other nervous dysfunctions, constipation, sleep. Also, it has a regulatory effect on blood pressure. There have been studies on pregnancy and labor and delivery. And believe me, if Reflex-OIL-ogy could instantaneously deliver a baby, we'd be in a whole nother spectrum here. But what it does, remember, is it balances the body. So the baby is always in control. There is also research studies on plantar fasciitis and anxiety, bedwetting, brain function, ADD, ADHD, autism. What's really fascinating is the most recent research that's being conducted now by David and Barbara Kuntz. And they have rocked the neuroscientific world because it has proven the amount of receptibility and conductivity of clinical reflexology and Reflex-OIL-ogy using the fMRI study that's being dealt with right now as we're doing this. And so the research papers are showing it's actually changing how neuroscientists are looking at the communication of the sensory system and how reflexology affects the brain and the rest of the body. So if you want more information on this, you can go to reflexology-research.com. More research also has been shown that clinical reflexology, this was really important for me because I knew Reflex-OIL-ogy worked. And then lo and behold, we now have scientific research that's being supported again that will show the effective and immediate and long-lasting effects in balancing the body with the application of our life force essential oils into the body via the feet. So the effects of aromatherapy have long been studied, but I think COVID, when happened here, it kind of initiated the study of actually how do essential oils, how does inhaling it. And what's very fascinating is when you put essential oils on the feet, they are have been shown to show up within an internal organ within 12 seconds. So reflexology is such a fast and effective means of supporting health within the body. So the effects of aromatherapy have long been studied, but COVID increased the research studies, and lo and behold, more research was unveiled. And so it really validated what reflexology was all about. And the proof of the pudding is our internal organs have sensory receptor sites for smell. So basically, your kidneys can smell, your liver can smell, your lungs obviously can smell, but all aspects of our body have olfactory receptor sites. And so it's not limited to the nose. So when we apply a premium life force essential oil on the reflexes of the feet, not only are we working with the nervous system, we're also working with the sensory input, the receptor sites on the organs, and directing the energy into the intricacies of the body via the feet, which is very non-invasive, very enjoyable, and very empowering for the receiver.
So Valor is a really good balancing
So
oil for the spine.
we will use essential oils then once we determine where the congestion is within the body via the musculature of the feet and the reflexes of the feet. We will actually then choose an essential oil. And we will then balance the body, balance the structure of the body is what we're working on first, and then go deeper into this and be able to use an essential oil that relates to that congested reflex area, and it helps the person understand how potent the essential oils can be. And also it gives them release and relief. And a lot of times working on the structure of the feet, we often run across the different causes of the maladies, and it helps the person understand their behaviors, their posture, the accident that they happened when they were 6 years old, an accident that perhaps they had, or a situation that affected even the mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of their body, which are all combined in the healing process using Reflex-OIL-ogy.
Be free to innervate all the organs for your digestion. There's no sense going to the organs. It's like, why paint if the wall's cracked, right? I mean, you gotta fix all those things first. Make sure.
So we teach Reflex-OIL-ogy on a basis of different body system modules. We have a module or a course for each body system. And in that we will, and it's very, it's easy to understand. My goal in beginning Reflex-OIL-ogy is for lay people to really have an experience to understand what's going on within their bodies, to be able to take care of themselves more effectively, their families, their friends. And it's also made for professionals. A lot of massage therapists, physical therapists, nurses will actually take these courses to have another tool in their toolbox, and of course, reflexologists to enhance their skills. So we do a lot of different things within each class. Again, we are looking at the applied anatomy and physiology. We will focus on new reflexology techniques and new ways to get more precise into the reflex areas. We'll use a AAA, what we call a AAA assessment program that will help to identify areas of congestion within the body. We will then study the essential oils that are appropriate or pertinent to each body system. We also explore the emotional sources of the system's pathologies and the manifestations. And we also have a program that will release, it's called the emotional pathway release technique, that once those are shown up in the feet, we can release them. And we often will use energy centers and pathways and meridians, body awareness, lifestyle adaptations, and nutritional supplementation as an adjunct to help people empower and change their lifestyle. So it is a very comprehensive but enjoyable 8 hours when people share, and they are very grateful for the increased knowledge and the empowerment of understanding their bodies from within, from their soles of their feet. So our classes are unique in the sense we have a lot of hands-on classes, live classes that we enjoy teaching. We also have online courses where people can study at home. We do also a lot of presentations for groups to empower them. Each student is given a workbook and also videos that they can practice with and enjoy. And so it is a great way to they're given all the tools to go out and to explore and to share this with the rest of their community, their family and friends, or their professional clientele. We also have resources available for you for each body system that will explore the the special areas. Interested. Oh my gosh, I can't say that. Anyways, we have those areas, and we have the charts that also have the protocol on it and explain the different combinations, and oils are also listed on the charts, and where those oils can be applied when a reflex area is determined to be congested, and we find the root of that congestion out. So the benefits of reflexology are many, many. The feet are so accessible. It is very non-invasive. The feet are our foundation of wellness. So the structure and the electrical alignment has to come through our feet. And this will then empower, when we have this alignment done, then we also will increase the internal communication within the body, which helps the immune system, which is everything that heals our body, and it'll help balance and release inflammation and pain. Using premium Life Force essential oils, again, sometimes I don't use a lot of oils on the feet as my clients improve. But a lot of times when we are only applying that essential oil when necessary. So we're not dousing the feet in oils, and we're very responsible with them, and we sustain them extremely well. And we teach that responsibility to our clients and receivers as well. The oils will help with the emotional balance within the body, and the oils can then be used on an ongoing basis with my clients for their personal wellness. And it will support their body, their mind, their spirit, their emotions to come more into balance. And of course, it's very relaxing, because once you get rid of the congestion within the body, then the relaxation is much more long-term, and we have a more productive life rather than looking to suppress the inflammation or to suppress the pain. We find the cause of that through the feet. And believe me, the feet talk. The feet talk. So I hope you enjoyed this brief presentation, have a better understanding of how vital your feet are for your health and well-being. And we invite you to look at our webpage, which is reflex-oil-ogy.com, or Reflex-OIL-ogy. I've been teaching oils and feet, oh my gosh, since for 25 years now, but our program has been trademarked in 2018, and we also are a CEU provider for professionals as well. So you may end up loving Reflexology, enjoy using it for yourself and your family, or hey, you may be able to use it as a way to share the benefits of essential oils. You may be able to use it as an adjunct to your health regimen personally, or to your clientele. So we invite you all to look for more information. Enjoy looking at our webpage. God bless.